Hi everybody, Miss Mary back again with another exciting addition to our MidPointe Maker program. So we're going to keep working on artists. Today we're going to talk about Paul Klee and this painting of his called Senecio, which is Latin for old man. All right, so I want to remind you that I don't really have formal art training or education, but I got to tell you, I really enjoy making things. It's fun to try something new and discover what I can do. Sometimes the things I make look great, and sometimes they don't. But every time I learn something and I have fun. Do you like making things and learning new things? I sure hope so. So we're going to look at a famous work of art and see if we can make something ourselves that shows the same style. Do you know what the word style means? It means looking in a particular way. So if you like to wear your hair in a mohawk or in braids, that's your style, right? Your hairstyle. Make sense? Let's keep going. Today we're looking at a famous painting by an artist named Paul Klee. His last name was spelled K-L-E-E, but pronounced Clay. And this painting is called Senecio, which means old man in the Latin language. Do you think it looks like an old man? Well, I see a head shape. It's kind of round. And there are two eyes and a neck and shoulders. But did you notice he doesn't have ears or a mouth or a nose? I mean, there's these shapes here. Is that supposed to be his mouth or his nose holes? And what is going on with his eyebrows? One looks kind of like a regular person, but this one goes up all pointy. So do you see how this painting is made up of shapes? Not just the round head and straight neck, but look at those blocks of color. Does it look like the artist took a square of color maybe here and the shape, the circle of the head, and he kind of put them together? And look at the shapes on the neck here. Well, this style of art is called abstract art. Abstract art doesn't show things exactly how they look, but instead it focuses on colors and lines and shapes. Paul Klee, the artist who made this painting, loved music. In fact, he played violin every day of his entire life. He wanted his paintings to have the kind of harmony that you hear in music. So today, we're going to make our own abstract art, focusing on simple lines and blocks of color. We're not going to use paint today. So for this project, you're going to need these materials. You're going to need some paper. Cardstock is best, but regular paper works okay too. You're going to want a pencil. I've got my fancy MidPointe pencil. A black crayon. I used this big one. Some bleeding tissue paper, and you'll need to check the label and make sure that it says that. The kind of tissue paper that you wrap presents in probably won't work, so I got this bleeding tissue, a foam brush, some water, and of course some table protection. So because this is going to make your table wet, so if you're doing this on a wooden table, make sure you put down some plastic or newspaper or something like that. I'm hoping I don't get in trouble for messing up the table. Uh-oh. So to give you an idea of what one of our finished projects might look like, I've got this one that I made last week. What do you think? It's pretty simple, some cool blocks of color. So here's what we're going to do. First, you'll use your pencil to draw a simple face. Again, we're not coloring anything in, all right? So I'm going to draw a face. Somebody told me they thought that kind of looked like the Mona Lisa. I don't know. So I'm going to draw a very simple face. I'm going to put a smile and a nose and some eyes and a neck and shoulders. So it's kind of like his Senecio, right? And I'm going to put some hair in there. Again, I'm using my pencil to make very light lines, just to kind of remind me of where it is I want to use my crayon. So now I've got my crayon, and I'm going to push hard. I'm going to make big, dark lines with my crayon. Oop, okay, didn't quite match the pencil there, did it? That's all right. Okay. Because we want to make sure that the dark lines of the crayon show through, okay, when we put the color on. So I'm going to give her some long wavy hair. Do you have long wavy hair? I do not. My hair is long, but it couldn't get wavy if I tried. And I'm going to color in her eyes. And instead of having her looking off to the side, I'm going to have her looking right at you. What do you think? Now I'm using a great big crayon and I'm pressing hard. If you're using a smaller crayon, you might want to go over some of it because we want to make sure that this dark line shows through. All right, give her some more hair over here. She's got some pretty crazy looking hair. All right, now for the fun part. Remember, by the way, with your crayon that you're not coloring in. I mean, I colored in the eyes a little bit, but you're just making lines, all right? Then you're going to take your tissue paper and you're going to cut it up into squares. I did that ahead of time, all right? You'll want some colors that go well with each other, okay? I used about 12 or 15 pieces of tissue for my last project. So I've got some here, different shapes, different size, well, some are squares, some are rectangles, different sizes. This, I have here a lot more than I'm going to need, but hey, I'm ready, all right? Now, I'm going to take my foam brush, I'm going to get it wet in the water, and I'm going to do one section at a time. So I'm going to paint across the top of the paper, just a little bit like that, getting it wet, and I'm going to put my paper down. You noticed I'm wearing gloves. That's because I don't want for my fingers to turn pink and purple. You probably don't want yours to either. So if you have gloves, it might be helpful. Although I'll also tell you, it washes right off if you do get color on your hands. It's not a big problem, but I'm at work and I'm supposed to look like a professional, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing section by section like this. All right. And I'm going to get this middle section here extra wet just to see what happens if it's a little bit wet or a whole lot wet. Put down some pink there. In fact, I put down 2 pieces of pink. We'll see what happens with that. Purple right in the middle. You see I'm pushing it down a little bit to make sure that it sticks well to the paper. And some more water through the middle here. Oh, I don't have very much purple in there. Let's put some purple through. And you can use whatever colors you like. If you remember from that picture of Senecio that we looked at the beginning, he used reds and yellows and oranges, colors that go together really well. I just decided to go pink and purple and blue. Put some small ones down here, a little bit more water. Now, I've tried this a couple different ways. I tried it once with spraying water on it, and that worked kind of okay, but not great. You might find that you have better luck with that. So, as always, give it a try and let me know what you think. All right, now I have my tissue down, all right? If you think that it got too dry, like up here at the top, I didn't start with a whole lot of water. You can spray it. I just have a spray bottle like this. I'm spraying a little bit extra on, not too much. You don't want to get it completely soaked. And now we're going to set our timers for 10 minutes to let it dry. Ready? Go. Hey, it's been about 10 minutes, give or take. Are you ready? Now for this is when your fingers are going to get colorful. So I'm just going to start peeling these off. Some of it came through real well. Some of them, there are white spots. Throw those away. I like to recycle, but you really can't recycle used up bleeding tissue, I don't think. So what do you think? Okay, so here's what I've learned. Where I put a whole lot of water down, that's where the color is stuck best. up here where I started, I don't think it was very wet, but then remember I sprayed some extra, so it came out pretty well there. So I want to make sure that I give this time to dry thoroughly. Okay, it's not as impressive as I would have hoped. I hope yours looks better. You have to push down on that tissue and use a lot of water. I've done this several times, so I want to show you some of them that I've made previously. I showed you this one. And this one where, oh gee whiz, did I use any water up there? Huh, you can almost see the fingerprints where I pushed down on it. And there's some. So you can see you can do the same project over and over and get very different results. So again, I'd like to see what your project looks like. Post some pictures down there in the comments. I wanted to share a book with you about Paul Klee, because, you know, he lived about 100 years ago is when he made his most famous paintings. And while we don't have books for kids specifically about Paul Klee, we do have a couple of books about abstract art. And two I'd like to recommend. One is called Nico Draws a Feeling by Bob Raska. And the other one is called A is for Art, an Abstract Alphabet. And that one was written by Stephen Johnson. All right, folks, I want to see what yours looks like. I hope it came out better than mine. So thanks for joining me today from MidPointe Maker. I hope you had fun with your project. I sure did. Keep making art, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.